Hey guys, okay, this is a straight talk. I don't know what number it is. I'll have to look it up and put it in the title. This straight talk is about what's your calling in life. So, any of you that know me, you know my calling in life is helping other people and doing community work. And I do my own thing, like Fat Girls Brownies. I do a big Halloween haunt, and so, and I raise money for a food pantry here in town that feeds like hundreds and hundreds of families. My bangs are like getting so long, it's gonna drive me crazy. They're like super long. I won't cut them because I don't want my hair. I don't want bangs anymore. I hate the bangs. They drive me crazy. Let's see. But I think that everybody, this is my request to you guys, is that you have a calling in life. I know so many people, and I'm not trying to pick on anybody at all. I'm just giving examples of people that I know. So if this example fits you, it's not you, it's people I know in real life. And this is an example of what I don't understand. So, like, let's say, for instance, I have a friend that lives here in town now, and he's on disability for dyslexia, which is, fine, it's fine. But like all day, he chooses to, he's not in any pain or anything like that, mind you, because there are people who are on disability who are in a lot of pain, and they're in chronic pain, and it would be very hard for, they are the ones that need help from people who work in the community, doing their yard or their housework, or just motivational talking, or pray for them, or whatever, bring them a dinner over, whatever. Those are the people that need help. But then there's other people who have, a lot of time on their hands. And it's not even just people who are on disability. I know a lot of people who have tons of time on their hands, and they choose not to have any callings in life. They don't choose to work on the weekends at the Humane Society. They don't, help their elderly sick neighbor who's been in and out of the hospital, and may not even have any other family members that help him or her with yard work or with this or that. And maybe this person will be the one to sit and bitch and complain because the person who's been in and out of the hospital's yard looks like shit. But yet they won't get their lazy ass and go do something to help this person. That just drives me nuts. People who have time on their hands to that are perfectly fine. They don't have any body problem. They don't have a hurt back or hurt neck or bad knees or bad hip or chronic headaches, or could have cancer, and they're really sickened down with that. There's so many things, or just clinically depressed and have, like, bipolar that makes them so depressed, and they get so down. There's nobody to help them. I'm talking to the people that are more like me, who have free time, who feel fine, and they choose to watch TV or play on the computer all fucking day. It makes me sick. I'm like, it's fine to play on the computer for whatever, or watch TV. I love to sit and watch a movie, a good movie. But to do that all day, every day, or every time I have free time, no. There's so much more to do. And I want to just encourage you that there's no better drug or high in life than to do community service, or do what I did with the Fat Girl Brownies and make up your own thing. How many times have you known, let's see, you knew somebody in town, and let's say you were friends with them or whatever, and you knew that their child had cancer, or whatever, their child had died, or I'm trying to think of cases I've done, but what did you do? Did you, and let's say okay, you don't have a lot of money. Well, what are ways that you could think of that you could help raise money for this family and help them? Let's say their child has cancer, and they have insurance, right? Well, in order to keep their insurance, they have to still keep their job. So the child's in you know, this cancer hospital that's, you know, specializes in cancer, and they have this parent still working 40 hours a week, and their baby is in there by themselves, and they don't get to spend the last minutes, you know, last days, hours, months, whatever, with their child, because they have to keep working, because, you know, they keep the insurance that pays for the cancer treatments. And you know, and it's like, what are you doing to help them? There's so many things that you could do to help. You can, you know, take hot dinners over to the house. You know, there's been times where me and my ex, we would just, like, on a Saturday, like, all we made you know, all through the day is we would make, like, several casseroles. We'd make noodle casseroles, rice casseroles, tater tot casseroles, whatever. We'd make all these different casseroles. So we'd end up cooking, like, a big pan that just had chicken breast, another big pan that just had hamburger, and then we'd, you know, cook pasta, all different types of macaroni, or penne, or lasagna, anything that's, like, goes in a casserole dish, and we'd make all these different casseroles, and then we just, you know, put, you know, and my neighbor was going through some stuff, medical stuff, that was making her very, very, very sick. And she's got 3 boys. She's got a husband that's working all the time to help pay the bills. She was running a business, and so we would, like, take you know, we would take a casserole over to her to be able to throw in the, you know, like a lasagna or something yummy. That when she was so tired and so sick, because she's trying to work all the time, and to raise these children, and, you know, and so she has something she can just throw in there, because her kids are used to having a hot meal. My kids aren't. I mean, I'm like, you go take care of yourself. Go make a sandwich, whatever. Because it's like, I could cook a tater tot casserole, and they wouldn't. My oldest son would never eat that because it's not in his diet. And my youngest son would be like, no, I really want a cheeseburger. You know, so it's like, I don't eat. I'm like, you go make what you want. You want a cheeseburger? Go make one. Because I'm not having a cheeseburger every day. You may, but I'm not. But it's just so important. There's so much. I can't imagine going through my life and being now 40 years old and never have done something to help somebody else. And there are so many people out there that have done nothing but for themselves. And it just disgusts me. It makes me sick. And I'm like, what are you going to do when you go to heaven, and God's going to, you know, or Jesus or God or whoever, Allah, whoever you want to, whatever you want to call God, and they open up your book of life and it's fucking blank. What are you going to say? You know, we are here to learn. I mean, I truly believe that we are on the earth to learn. We are on and whether it be, you know, whatever that learning is, whether we learn through college, we learn through reading books from the library, whatever. Are you going to say that all you do is watch movies in your spare time when you knew that the neighbor boy was dying of cancer, or someone, you know, 2 miles away from you but still in the same town, their child died in a car accident that wasn't their fault? And, you know, and with other teenagers, there wasn't going to be no big lawsuit. Don't ever assume that because someone dies in a car accident that there's going to be this big lawsuit. Because if the people they were with your cousins and if other family members, and it was a total accident that, you know, it was just a fluke of an accident. You know, they're driving the speed limit. They're doing everything right. They're not drinking and driving. They're just going home, and then some weird thing happened to the car, flipped it, child died. You know, I mean, there is nobody at fault there. And why would you sue your child's friends when they've done nothing wrong? So there is no money coming in. You are taking money out of your own pocket. You know, don't always assume that anybody who's in the hospital for this or for chemo or for a broken leg, these people have insurance. Don't ever assume that there was a lawsuit. You know, I had a friend that had a huge car accident. He actually died. They're putting him in in a bag to load him up into the ambulance, and he came back to life. Mind you, he had like a totally crushed leg, and he's like jumping out of the bag because all he was thinking in his head is that he had to come back because his son, was in the backseat of the car. Well, he wasn't in the backseat of the car. He was with me at my daycare. But he came back to life, and, you know, and it's like, amazing. It's just totally, totally amazing. But, you know, you got to, but with his situation, he barely got enough money from the lawsuit to basically give a donation to KU, because he got 25,000 or 30,000. 25,000 went to KU, and they wrote off the rest of the money. I mean, he owed them, I'm sure, 100, 150,000 easy. And that was all he got in the freaking, you know, because with Kansas, it is no fault. So whatever you get in an accident, you know, it's like this no fault law that, you know, you may not get nothing from an accident. So if you're going to get in an accident, you better be damn sure and hope your ass is in Missouri, because if it's their fault, they will have to pay you their insurance. And otherwise, you're screwed. And so don't ever assume that people have what they need to get what they need, whether it be insurance or whatever. We need to help more people. I cannot express that enough, and I cannot do it myself. I can't. I mean, I've tried. I mean, I've done a lot, but it's only 1 grain of salt, you know, for a whole bathtub full of salt. You know, it's only 1 little grain. That's all I've done, even though I've done so much. And I need your guys' help. I need for you guys to pick a calling that you want to do. Whether it be just going and visiting elderly people at a nursing home. I do that. It's no big deal. It's easy. It's fun. You could just sit somewhere and say, you know, I just come down here to visit people. You know, they're not going to deny you wanting to visit people, because if they do deny you, you need to check that nursing home out, because it's because they don't want you there, and they don't want you to see, like, if their abuse is going on, or they're being mean to the elderly people. They should encourage you to want to come to the nursing home and to be there. Because you could just sit in the little living room and people will come up to you and you can start talking to them. You say, hi, how are you doing? Plain and simple. You can do that with an elderly person that their mind is still with it, let's say. They'll start talking to you about anything and everything. Even ones that are out of it a little bit, they will still appreciate you trying to understand them and trying to talk to them. And you just can pretend you understand them. It's no big deal. That's what I do. I'm like, really? Cool. That is so cool. You look so good today. You know, you look really handsome today. And being just being positive and encouraging them and lifting them up. Even if they want you to say a prayer for them, prayers are so easy to say, and they're so personal. You know, to be able to, you know, ask that person his name and say a prayer for him in his name. And it's a blessing to be able to do something like that. And it's a blessing when you have other people pray for you. You know, it's one thing when you pray for yourself, but when you have a whole bunch of people praying for you, it will do so much. It does a lot. So I just encourage you guys to do something other than, you know, watching TV, working, being with your kids. You know, being with the kids is fine. You can involve your kids in community work. My kids have went with me and helped me work in people's yards. You know, these are things that I do on my own. I don't like go to a service and say, what can I help you with? I just go. Start with your own neighborhood. Start with your own block. And it's only just talking to people and getting to know them that you'll know if they need any help. Being open. For whatever reason, people are very, very open with me in my real life too. And they'll tell me stuff they've never told anybody in their life. I mean, you would not believe. My bangs are like so flat. You would never, I just wouldn't believe the stuff that people, I look at them, they're like, well, I've never told anybody this, but I don't feel comfortable in telling you. Yeah, I feel very comfortable in telling you this. Blah, 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 blah. You know, I was doing meth when I was 17 and you know, and go on, and I'm like, really? You don't look like a person, you don't look like you've done meth, or a type of person that would do meth. You know, and I, oh, sorry guys. I don't mean to sound, harsh on people who don't do anything, because if you don't know what route to take, and you don't know how to go about doing it, and that's what I'm here to teach you guys, is that then it is very easy to step back, because I've done it. I've stepped back and be like, what can I do? What can I do to help people out? And I just, I think about it, and I'm like, like I would know that, I would find out that somebody needed groceries. And I'm like, well, I have groceries. So, and maybe I don't know this family very well. Because even though I live in a town of like 1,200 people, there's still people I don't know. So I would like put together groceries. Or I'd ask the person that would tell me somebody needed groceries, well, what do they like to eat? I mean, do they care? They're like, oh no, they don't care. They'll take anything, they don't care. That's just how bad it is, that they'll take any groceries that you could give them and be so happy with that, right? So I put all this, I go get some Walmart bags, fill it up, canned goods, pastas. But I always, the most important part, when you're giving groceries to people that really need food and they have no food, you can't, like, for an example, do this. You can't give them, okay, let me think. You can't give them bologna without bread. You don't have to give them cheese or Miracle Whip, but you cannot give them bologna without a loaf of bread. You can't give them pasta without a sauce, because they don't have any sauce. So what good is that pasta going to do if they don't have any sauce? It doesn't have to have meat in it. If you don't have that to give, it doesn't have to have meat in it. But if they have a pasta, you have to have a sauce. If you give, okay, let's say like you give them a cake mix. Oh, let's say pudding. That's easier. You do pudding, you got to give them some milk. You got to at least do a half a gallon or whatever. Because they can't make that pudding without the milk. If you give them cake, they're going to need some eggs and oil, because they may not have those things. So that makes it easier for you guys to understand, is that everything, yin-yang for everything. There has to be a match. Even if you only give them a carton of eggs that's yours, and you took 6 out for you and you gave them 6, that is fine. They're happy with having 6 eggs, because 6 eggs is better than none. They're very happy. If you have cake, you have extra cake, and you have frosting, then give them a frosting. You could give them food that you just cooked. You could be like, well, I'm going to make a big stew tonight, so I'll double the batch, and I'll give them already hot, and I'll put it in a big container, and you take it to their house and say, hey, I thought you guys might like to have some stew. Hope you like stew. I heard that you were having a bit of a hard time right now, and I just really wanted to, or you could just, blame it on God. That's a good one. Blame it on God. God, I just had a feeling, from God that you guys might need some extra, a little something extra, hot meal or whatever, and I'm just bringing this. So it's so easy to add. If you're making a stew, let's say you're making a poor man's stew, and it's like just with hamburger. It's so easy to go ahead and add a couple more extra cans of crushed tomatoes, some more peas, some more potatoes, especially potatoes. That's like so cheap. To make almost a double batch. It doesn't have to be a completely double batch, and take it to them and share it with them. If you want to add some more to that, like you really want to make it a meal, then add give them some boxes of saltine crackers, or a little dessert, or things like, you can make it a complete meal. Salad and salad dressing, that's another thing. You're going to give them a bag of salad, you got to give them salad dressing, because they may not have any salad dressing. So what good is that salad if they can't eat it? So I just really want to encourage you guys to find a calling in your life that does for other people, and it could be any kind of calling, whether it be working with animals. My friend Kim from Too Big, she's like a huge, huge supporter of animals and animal rights. And anything that you guys can do. If you want to add a video, or just post below what you want your calling to be, or what you're going to work on a little bit harder. Because let's say you work like once or twice a year in a pantry or something like that. Well, let's try. I want you guys to do more. I want you guys to, work in the pantry once a month. I want you guys to do more in your community. And I want to know what you guys are doing, because I personally, I need more help. And I'm not in New Mexico, and I'm not in New York, or Arizona, or Las Vegas, or Germany, or Canada. I'm not in those places. I can't be in those places. I'm just in little old Wellsville, Kansas. And that's all I could do. And I have gone, and helped people in Kansas City and from Peola and stuff like that. But I can't be everywhere. And I really, really want to just do this video to encourage you guys to help me make a difference. And you will receive the blessings in the future. You will get those blessings, not me. And I love you guys. And I know that you will not fail me. And that you will help me with this. Because I need to be able to get more done. You know, I can't be everywhere. And I really want you guys to be able to feel how I feel and how wonderful it is to give to the community. And it doesn't matter what it is. If it's watering your neighbor's flowers, I mean, it really could be something so little. Go to your neighbor, your elderly neighbor. You see their yard looks like crap. Just go up there, knock on the door, say, hey, you know, I wanted to say hi. I wanted to check on you. That's how I'd be like, hey, you know, I want to check on you, be sure you're okay. And they'll be like, okay, well, yeah, I am okay, or no, I'm not okay. Well, do you want me to come aside? Do you want to sit and talk about it? When you're working with elderly people, and you got to be really careful, because most elderly people have been had so many times by people that pretend they care, but they wanted to take money from them or ask for a check. You don't ever ask for anything. And if they eventually want to give you something, but like when it comes to you doing for work for on their, like, let's say, you know, you find out she's really sick and she's like, can't clean my house. They're like, you know what, let me come over and I'll clean your house for free. And I will not accept any money from you. Make it very known that you're not accepting anything from them. Or if you're not comfortable with me working your house, let me straighten up your yard a bit. Pick up trash, mow, weed eat, whatever. Spray for weeds. I mean, I've done everything. Believe me, I've done it all. Pull weeds out of flower beds, water their flowers. That's very simple. But they, you know, if you water, they may not want you to water a lot, because then they got to pay a higher water bill. Blah, 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 you know, so it's like one thing after, they may be on a very tight budget. But if they brought you over like a loaf of bread, like homemade bread, or then those are things you can accept that they made from their heart, and it didn't cost a lot of money. That's fine, because a lot of elderly people are a bit stubborn. And they do want to repay you in one way or another. And if they ask, you know, really want to repay you what, you know, first thing, if they ask me, how can they repay me? And I'm like, your friendship is payment enough. And, or even just going and visiting an elderly person is community work. If you just sit there and talk to them and laugh, and you could bring, you know, some lemonade over and maybe some homemade cookies. You guys can sit and eat lemonade and cookies and talk and laugh about the good old days. My favorite thing is for people who lived through the, depression. I love to hear about depression stories, and I want to hear their depression story, their personal depression story, about how they lived and survived in the depressions, and what was all the hardships that they went through, and the fun things they had experienced and stuff like that. But not every person's been, you know, that's elderly that needs help is not, that live in the depressions. So if they're like 70, they don't remember the depression or didn't even live in the depression. So anyways, just, I really want you guys to help me out and find your calling in life. Let me know what it is. You know, post it below or do a video response, whatever you want. I don't care. And, because I love hearing from you guys, and I love motivating you guys to be better, whether it be more positive about yourself and your body, loving yourself no matter what your size is. You know, this is my calling, is to motivate, to encourage, to strengthen women, and, you know, I want you to be brave, and I want you to make sacrifices, and this is what I would love for you guys. I want you to experience what I experience in my heart and in my soul, because of the things that I do, and I only want to do more. So once I get this tumor baby out, it's like, it's going to be hardcore. It's going to be 5K walks. It's going to be more work, because the fact that I decided, you know, I do not want to be in any relationships, that I decided to be single. No, I'm not necessarily just not going to be sexually active, but I mean, I'm sure I'll still be sexually active. I just don't want to be in any relationships after all the bad ones I've had. I decided to just focus more, you know, my children are older, 12 and 20, that I could really focus more on doing community work and working, doing other things in my free time. So I just kind of want to encourage you guys to go with me, help me with this, and encourage me, because you guys getting motivated by me then motivates me in return again to want to do more. Or you guys think of a cool idea, I'm like, well, I never thought about that. That is something I would really love to be able to do. I've never really like worked with the animal shelter stuff. That's not really something I'm feeling a calling, because children are my calling, and they're humans, and they're my calling, and they need help. Children are being abused because their families are poor, and that is, you know, parents get frustrated and angry because they don't have money to feed their children, and, you know, it ends up turning into child abuse. You know, child gets smacked or punched or lots of horrible things. So children is, and elderly, I love elderly people, but children is my main focus. So, but I'm going to let you guys go because this is getting really long. But I love you guys, and please support me in my cause, and thinking of a cause for you, for your life, a calling that you want to do, that you're going to do. And you're going to then motivate other people to do things too. It just pays it forward, and it's just kind of like, you know, this pyramid effect. Really, it's like more people will start doing things because they see you doing things, and it's awesome. So, but I love you guys, and I will talk to you later. Bye.